Thank you for everyone's patience as we get started on this new year. Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you for coming out in the cold. Sorry for starting a little bit late. This does mean that we will come out of our closed session late. So for the public joining us a little bit later, we hope to come out of our closed session a little. So I'd like to call it to order at 5 p.m. I would like to also ask for a quick vote. Commissioner Case is joining us virtually, and we need to vote on that. He's not feeling well, and he's not here, quite frankly. Sorry, Doug. And so if we can have a vote on Commissioner Case joins virtually. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Please note that it's unanimous. Thank you. Also, I want to note that the next meeting is Wednesday, January 17th at 4:30 p.m. We are hoping to meet the first and third Wednesday of each month here in Balboa Park. We will vote on the calendar, on the draft calendar at our next meeting. So, Ms. Condi, will you please do the roll call?
Thank you. Sorry, just a quick clarification. I just want to make sure. So for the meeting minutes, was there a second? Just vote. Got it. For Doug's. Okay, virtual. Okay, thank you. Okay, I don't know. We'll figure it. Yes, yes. Okay. Octavio. Layla Aziz will be coming in late, I believe. Bonnie Benitez. Like Fire. Here. First Vice Chair Brown. Here. Cheryl Canson is excused. Second Vice Chair is going to be virtual.
Yeah, present.
Okay. Thank you. Christina Griffin-Jones. Dwayne Harvey. Missing. Okay. Brendan Hilbert. Here. Darlan Molmat. Here. Clovis Honoré. Here. James Justice. Here. Thank you. Dennis Larkin is excused. Lupe Diaz. Thank you. Marie Ramirez is not here. Ivania Rubio is excused. Jaylene Sanchez is absent. Chair Tran. Thank you. And Dahlia Sherlyn Villa Cruz is absent. That completes roll call.
Thank you, Ms. Condi. Now I would like to introduce Dr. Danelle Scarborough, our new interim executive director, who was appointed to council unanimously, I might add. And we're going to give her a chance just to say hello to everyone. Danelle?
You skipped Mark Maddox, but he's not here, just so it's.
Thank you.
Just to say good evening, it's a pleasure to serve you. Looking forward to supporting your work, continuing and supporting the Personnel Committee and a champion for your commission. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Scarborough. All right, so we need to approve the minutes from our last meeting. Anybody for changes? Okay. Okay, motion to approve by Commissioner Hilpert, second by Commissioner Benitez. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Unanimous. Thank you. Now, before we go into closed session, is there any public comment before we go into closed session? Ms. Obeid. This is only about our closed session.
It's because they're both on. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, here, just give you this one. I don't need it anymore. Yeah. Is it both on?
So I think it's the one that's problematic is on.
It's on?
Because I tested all of them before.
Hello?
Yeah.
All righty.
We have no public attending in person. For folks joining us virtually, the public comment period for this item is now open. If you have already joined the Zoom webinar online or by phone, please raise your hand if you wish to speak per the instructions on the agenda. So if you wish to speak online, please go ahead and raise your hand now using the raise your hand feature on the Zoom. Again, on the closed session portion of this agenda, please raise your hand now. The public comment is now closed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Now I turn it over to outside counsel, Mr. Dwayne Bennett, who is joining us virtually to lead us into closed session. Mr. Bennett?
Okay, good morning or good evening, Commission. There'll be a recommended closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54-957 to discuss matters that are protected and confidential under Penal Code Sections 832.5 through 832.8. That would be the recommendation. Thank you.
That works.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. For the public, we hope to see you around 6 o'clock. Thank you. We're going to session now.
It's being recorded now. Yes, yeah, it's being recorded. It says start, oh, okay.
Out of closed session, I turn it over to our outside counsel, Mr. Bennett, to tell us what happened in closed session, what he can.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Chair. The Commission met in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54-957 to discuss cases that are confidential pursuant to Penal Code Sections 832.5 through 832.8. As for reportable action, there is one reportable action. The Commission voted unanimously to agendize the department's usage and practices regarding body-worn cameras, buffering, and engagement of the cameras, and to consider policy recommendations. The Commission will be taking this up at a future meeting. Again, the vote to consider that item and agendize that item was unanimous. There's no further reportable action. That would conclude my closed session report.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Chief Investigator Golub would like to update us on disciplinary memos and reviewing them.
So just a reminder, the ordinance mandates the Commission, in addition to reviewing cases, to review also disciplinary memos that result from investigations that IE does. So the Commission will now start reviewing the discipline memos for the cases that the Commission has reviewed so far. So the Commission won't be reviewing discipline memos reviewed by for the cases that were reviewed by the CRB. There are currently somebody has the mic on. Are the mics off? Okay. There are currently 4 disciplinary memos that are ready to be reviewed for the cases that the CPP has reviewed so far. So the plan is that the original team who did the case review will then review the disciplinary memo. And then it's going to be agendized and put in the closed session for the entire Commission to vote on. 2 of these memos are actually for the cases that Mr. Bennett reviewed, so I'm happy to review it, or maybe one of the teams can also assist with that. But they're pretty short, so they shouldn't take long, and it will be, I'll send more information on what to look for when reviewing those disciplinary memos, and the group mentors will also help the rest of the team members with that. Any questions on the update?
Thank you. All right, now we have new business. Executive Director update. I turn it over to First Vice Chair Brown.
Okay, the ad hoc personnel committee has been working very hard to create a practice on how to select an executive director. We have written a request to the City Council on December 8th with a proposal for the hiring of the executive director. We are currently awaiting their response. We hope for a first quarter or end of the March facilitation of hiring of the executive director. And the big issue with this is not only are we going to need to be hiring an executive director, but we're also going to have to hire staff members. And those staff members include the deputy executive director, the general counsel, the performance auditor, and the policy analyst, along with other positions. The executive director is the person that does that hiring. So it is really incumbent upon there to be a quick response, particularly from city council, on whether they're going to, how they want to proceed with this hiring. Today we're going to talk about review of the qualifications for the executive director, and also present ideas on how to include the general public in making recommendations for those qualifications. And we'll then have a vote on those recommendations. To start out, Commissioner Mamat will begin. I think there will be a public comment prior. Okay.
Give the presentation, and then we'll have public comment before we have commissioner discussion.
And sorry, the other one has to be up. There you go.
And Alina,
Yeah.
Can you put the slide up, please?
Yes, sorry, is this one's the community one or the characteristics one?
The executive director characteristics.
Okay, thank you. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, characteristics of executive director.
Okay, hold on.
So for now, I won't be able to see.
It's also in your agenda. I don't, just so you guys know.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know what?
Fantastic.
Let me get
Thank you,
this.
Alina. So this slide here, you may remember from last time before the new year. These were the qualifications that we talked about then. And this is a working document. That's why there's a slide 2. And those are new characteristics that have been suggested through meetings with more discussion among the personnel committee, as well as meetings with the staff. And that's what we want to hone even further through reaching out to the community. And ideally, we want this list to be comprehensive, but at the same time, not too lengthy, right? It's like you're asking for the world. So that's why we need the community to help us prioritize some of these things. In fact, just since these slides were made, we've had people suggest, oh, we need commitment to independence and transparency of the commission. We need their ability to develop and implement a budget. So some of those things can be inferred by these things, and hopefully the discussions with the community will help with that. And I turn it over to Clovis.
Okay, again, in your packet is the information that we are bringing forward for a vote action today on what we recommend that we should do to make sure we're getting sufficient community input. Is that better? Okay, that's right. We're not being quiet anymore. We can talk loud.
Alina, change the slide, please.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, 1 second. Okay.
Keep going. I think there's another.
Oh, is this the next? Oh, wait, it's above it.
Yeah, it's the first, that's before, yeah. It's opposite in the back. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Some of these are kind of straightforward, NACO sites, looking at that for things of that nature. But we want to make sure that we're getting enough information, input from the community in a number of different ways. And we also want to make sure that those communities and perhaps individuals who are most impacted by the work that we do get an equally disproportionate opportunity to participate in the process. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and read these for the sake of the, although they're up there for the for the public to see right now, I think we should read some of these. We want to invite community organizations in writing, by flyer, by internet communication, and verbally to attend a centrally located CPP meeting dedicated to gaining community input about characteristics desired for the executive director. I think the next one's kind of self-explanatory: community input on the executive director position to discuss what they believe would be the focus of this commission should be. Third bullet, starting in early January, which is now, ask office staff, specifically the community outreach coordinator, to contact and invite representative community organizations to participate. Ask if there's additional help needed by this individual. In other words, we want to make sure that our outreach person has all the resources they need to make sure this happens effectively and efficiently. And then also ask city council members, staff, to provide assistance with these contacts. Because in each district, of course, there are going to be people who are more vocal, but then there are also going to be people who may not be as vocal, but the office will know who needs to be reached for public comment and input. Next bullet is publicize these meetings through all community groups, for example, community planning groups, community-based organizations, libraries, etc. Next bullet is ensure that communities that are most greatly impacted by complaints of police interactions, i.e. Southeastern San Diego, Barrio Logan, Mid-City Downtown, are given special opportunity to participate in these discussions by providing additional abilities to provide input. And again, I already mentioned NACOL. And the last one is consider having town hall meetings similar to how city council meetings interact with their communities. And I'm going to go back up to that third to last bullet again. As we know, communities, what we in my call communities of concern, typically have the least capacity to participate in these processes because of resources. So we want to make sure that that does not happen in this case, that those communities that are most impacted by our work are especially sought out and sought after to give input on what's happening in their own communities. And with that, we do discussion or a motion first? Typically, it's a motion first.
Right now, we're going to go to public comment. When the presentation is over, do we have public comment about this item?
Hello? The public comment for this item is now open. We have Kate Yavandutti in person. I will bring the microphone to you.
So
You'll have 2 minutes.
oh, that was too much. I'm so sorry.
Takes me 2 minutes to say my name. Okay, I'm Kate Yavandutti. I'm with Women Occupy San Diego and the National Lawyers Guild, and I have a...
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying.
That's okay, I won't go 2 minutes. I just have a couple comments. One, I think this is a really good start, but the comment that I want the group to think about when you're talking about these community meetings or town halls is not only to have a discussion on the qualifications of the executive director, but also on the hiring and interviewing and recruitment process. Because there's no discussion here yet, I know there will be, about involving the community, like we had a community panel in the interview process that hired Yasmin. And instead of duplicating all these town halls, I think you should put both of those things together. I also suggest, and you probably already know, that Patrick Anderson did these town halls when we were talking about the new CPP, and he's got a tremendous list of people that you can contact. So I suggest that you contact Patrick on that. The only comment that I have on qualifications is I think it's probably a mistake to require a master's degree or a law degree. I think that's too restrictive. We had this same discussion when we were talking about the community engagement coordinator. And I think if you really want somebody who's community-based with all of the administrative skills that you need for the executive director, you're not necessarily going to get that with somebody who's got a master's degree or a law degree. I have a law degree, but my administrative skills are kaput. So I think you need to look at somebody who has experience and skills, but I don't think you should require a master's or a law degree.
This completes public comment in person. For those joining us virtually, if you would like to speak on this item, again, we're on first new business item, the executive director position. Please raise your hand now using the Zoom feature. Again, if you are joining us virtually and would like to speak on item 8A, please raise your hand now using the Zoom feature. This concludes public comment for this item. Thank you.
Thank you. First Vice Chair Brown, I'm turning it over to you to handle the discussion.
Can we get the lights back on? Luz, por favor.
Okay, and I'd like to open up the discussion to commissioners. You have before you the recommendations from the ad hoc personnel committee. I want to open up discussion on those recommendations, particularly as they pertain to having the community's input into this process. Commissioner Aziz.
I think this was well done. Thank you so much for your.
Is there another one on? Okay.
I think this was well done. Thank you so much for your time, the time you guys committed in putting this together. I do like it. I wish that it was, because we have so much experience in this, on why we just didn't see it all the way through. I'm sure they just told you to concentrate on this, that's why. But I think it's going to be very important that we do look, because if we go to the community, we have to have these other things done as far as what the candidate, what is the highest degree, what does experience look like, and things of that nature. And also, and trust me, I'm not talking about myself, but, or, because I would never apply, but people from the commission can apply, correct?
If they choose to, yes, from the commission can apply. However, if it's ever discussed in closed session, they must recuse themselves, according to Mr. Bennett.
I see a few people I know who would make great executive directors, but okay, so that's all I wanted to really say, and to make sure that we do have that panel that it doesn't just include commissioners, but community members on the hiring panel is going to be very important.
I heard Patrick Anderson's name mentioned several times at different meetings. I was wondering how we could contact him.
Yes. I have it. Yes.
Other input? Commissioner Griffin?
I wanted to check in with the subcommittee on you all's thinking around the degree requirement. Are we saying that we'll take experience if that person doesn't have a degree?
Actually, that was requested to be removed from the characteristics, and it hadn't been removed, but it had been requested to be removed.
Now, we're going to try to do as many community forums or outreach as we can. You had mentioned that we can't probably do all of them only due to time, like, for example, having a town hall meeting in every district or anything like that, that might be time prohibitive. Are you asking for recommendations from this list, or what exactly, I guess, are you looking for?
So we realize that in the timeline we're trying to work in, it is an arduous task to attempt to be as broad as possible. However, that is why one of our recommendations is that we seek out city council offices, we seek out what other resources we need to be as effective as possible. This is kind of critically important This is the executive director. Will set the tone for the agency for the foreseen future of the agency. And we want to make sure that this gets as broad coverage as possible. And so that's why we're suggesting so many resources be put into this, and why one of the actual recommendations is that we have this conversation with our outreach coordinator to make sure that she has the information that she needs, she has the resources she needs, and the money. If every city council person has to set one up themselves, then that's what should happen. It shouldn't be on her, right? So we should be able to get 9 without her doing anything, quite frankly, on that one. Maybe she could just set up but we're really serious about getting that's how we came about. 70+% voted for this of the community members. We think that it's critically important they have as much input as possible. And obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, we may not hit that goal, but we thought we should be shooting for that goal.
Other comments?
Thank you. I just wanted to touch base on the education requirement. It is pretty common for jobs to have education requirements. I would say for executive director, if you look at the NACOL website, they do have like blank recommended job descriptions, and they do have a suggested education requirement. So maybe the commission could consider revisiting, not necessarily the education that they put there, but at least to have some sort of education requirement for the candidate, because I think it would be important for the candidate to have education in the related fields.
Yes, and with consideration of that, I think it was already brought up, many applications, especially when we're talking about communities, grassroots communities, dealing with these kinds of issues, there's an experience component that can supplement or support or get rid of, right? Be there in place of an actual degree, right? You've got 12 years of experience being an executive director. I'll take that over anybody who's got a PhD and has never done the job. So we want to make sure that we're getting the person who can do the job, not this person who just has a degree and looks like they might have some information.
And many times it's listed or applicable experience. Yeah, I've seen that many times. Commissioner Just.
So I'd just like to add a couple of more qualifications I think are very pertinent. The executive director should be faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, and able to leap tall buildings in a single bound.
I think those are crucial to that job. Commissioner Honoré.
And I just want to add, they should also have a vibranium. It wouldn't have hurt if they had a vibranium suit. So that we're also, looking at some cultural, what I'm talking about, balance that equation.
Okay,
they can do all that, but they need to.
Okay, Mr. Bennett would like to speak.
Yes, Commissioner, I just want to say one thing, and this is a follow-up to Commissioner Aziz's comment about any commissioner who might be interested in applying for the position. It's very, very critical. We already talked about it, and I passed on the admonition to commissioners before the process started in terms of closed session, but there is another very, very, very important statutory conflict of interest code in California. And it's entitled Government Code Section 1090. So if there are commissioners who are interested in applying for this position, we really, really, really need to discuss it, because it's more than a casual recusal from closed session. If you as a commissioner are interested in applying for the position, you cannot be involved, and you should not be involved in discussions relative to qualifications or what the input, or you shouldn't be involved in any aspect of what you're talking about now. So I just want to caution, as the attorney, it's my job. Government Code Section 1090 is unforgiving. And we don't want any of you to get involved in a conflict of interest situation. So just a word to the wise is sufficient. I don't know what to tell you, because I don't know who might be interested, but if there's a commissioner who's interested, then you need to be out of all discussions relative to this position, relative to qualifications, relative to public input, relative to any participation at all relative to this position.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. And if anyone is interested, please come see a member of the cabinet and we will discuss it with Mr. Bennett and Dr. Scarborough. Go ahead, Yasmin, Miss Obi.
Hello. Hello, everyone. I just want to thank the committee for their really wonderful work on this and the robust recommendations for community engagement. I have a couple of questions and then a few things that I want to bring up. My first question is, what is the timeline that these forums, as well as the community outreach as a whole, you all are looking to have them within? And I ask this because in order for a robust community engagement process with one staff, we need 4 to 6 weeks to make 2 forums happen. I actually don't think I have the capacity to do beyond 2 well-executed forums with well-executed community outreach, where I'm calling community members over the phone one by one. I'm calling community leaders. I'm creating materials to send out. I'm sending emails, doing social media, etc. So that's my first question. Oh, okay. Okay, and the second question is, does this take priority over the all the other community forums that we have named in the past around fourth waivers, etc.? Because we, in the past, we voted that would happen by June 30th of 2024. And again, each community forum takes a lot of labor. So I need clarity if this takes priority over those. And then in regards to support, I would need support from the commission or commissioners specifically with community outreach. I would need support with you making direct one-on-one calls, reaching out to your own contacts and leaders within your districts or the areas you represent as a commissioner. I would need support from CPP staff to actually host and do the logistics of these forums and meetings. And I would absolutely need support from council districts in connecting to community leaders within their districts, as well as possibly hosting their own. Although my recommendation would be to focus on hosting 2 well-done forums instead of 10 not so well-done forums, and just pushing all community engagement through these 2, and allowing people to also submit feedback through different ways. So it could be over the phone, over email, a form online, etc. So opening different creative ways of collecting community feedback that's outside of the actual physical forum. And I would also push for us to absolutely have these hybrid as well.
Thank you. Okay, Yasmin, he needs them.
Okay, we're on a timeline, so we need to call for recommendation vote. Okay, we have these bullets here, eliminating the one that starts with NACO, and eliminate the number 2 bullet. Okay, now we have the other bullets, and I would like, unless there are recommendations that support what Ms. Yasmin has said, that we look at the others and determine which would be our priorities on moving this thing forward. Understanding, again, that City Council has not responded to us, and we have, again, timelines that are projected for first quarter, or we have timelines that can extend this thing into infinity. And we're trying to get a time specific for this to happen, both the City Council's response and our ability to set up the forums that you're talking about. Okay, so my first request would be to look and prioritize those that are on this list now. After that, if there are others that we want to add, then add them. Okay? Fair enough? Okay. Clovis, this is your task.
Thanks, boss. I move that the Commission on Police Practices accept the Personnel Committee's recommendations on how to generate community input towards the hiring of the Executive Director as presented on this slide, with the exception of the two items that second chair, second vice president? First vice chair, okay, because I heard somebody call Doug that. First vice chair, Dennis Brown.
Thank you. Okay, seconded by all those any more discussion? We do. Commissioner Malnat and then Commissioner Griffin-Jones. We are running late, so we need to move it along, please. So a minute each.
And I would just add to that, with this acceptance, that the community engagement coordinator starts moving forward on, because I understand that the city hasn't approved it, but I don't think that we should slow down. Okay, Commissioner Griffin-Jones.
Can we add what Ms. Obi said as well, or is that included?
It's kind of included in here, and I think she's going to be working with that ad hoc committee.
Okay. Oh yeah, because she asked the question.
Yes, we will welcome your input.
Commissioner Honore.
And just for everyone's comfort, do understand, this is what we're recommending we try to do. We're not saying you got to do 10 of them or you're fired. We're not saying that at all. We're saying this is what we're trying to achieve, and we're going to work with her to make sure that she gets everything that she needs.
It's a living document.
As much as it can happen.
Okay, so.
Also, can I just note that Doug has his hand up?
Thank you.
Final comment, I can't let this moment pass without advocating to please add more staff to the community engagement coordination in general. I really need additional full-time staff in this area, so please make that a priority for next year or the year after. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Case. Second Vice Chair Case.
Can you put the slide back up so we can see what we're voting on? But I'd like to second what Yasmin said. I think that it makes a lot more sense to try to organize two forums well, rather than try to do 9 or 10 separate ones. That the forums should be hybrid, and most importantly, that there be a way for members of the community to submit their input, perhaps online or some other method, so that if they can't attend a forum, they have the opportunity for their input to be heard.
Commissioner Case, that would be included in that number 1 bullet.
All right, we need to take a vote on this motion. So all those in favor of accepting the recommendations of the ad hoc personnel committee, please raise your hand. Okay. Oh. Okay, all those opposed? Abstentions? It's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you to the Personnel Committee for everything that they have done. It's a really, really good work that they've done, and really insightful. So thank you to everyone for their time. All right, outside investigator, Mr. Bennett.
Yes, Commissioner.
You want to update the committee on, this is on the cases that have expired. We're going to get an outside investigator hired. There have been a couple snags, but Mr. Bennett would like to update us. Mr. Bennett.
Yes, Commissioner, this is a very, very brief report. There really is no update. The update is that this matter remains in meet and confer with the city and with the Police Officers Association. As soon as I have word back, I will let you know. I'm involved in that meet and confer process. We've had some discussions with the city. There has been a letter sent to the POA, and we await response. So I'll provide further update as that information becomes apparent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. All right, moving on to just a follow up from last week's, last meeting's discussion about on the website that we forwarded to you where everyone is on it. Please, if you haven't gotten your picture or your bio, please send it to Ms. Obi. we have emails for commissioners, for people to contact us, which is wonderful because we are the representatives of the community. There was some discussion whether we want our city email, like tran.g@sandiego.gov, or if we just want email, and they click on the email and they email the chair. So we said we would vote on that. It might be a safer way to just say email and then automatically go to the email, and Ms. Obi can do whatever the commission votes on. Is there any public comment on this?
If there's any public comment in person, please raise your hand. Great, no in-person public comment. If you are joining us virtually and would like to speak on this item, please raise your hand now. If you're joining us virtually and would like to speak on this item, please raise your hand now using the Zoom raise your hand feature. This concludes public comment on this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, is there discussion? Commissioner Aziz.
Do these work? These two?
I'd like to open it up for discussion to make a motion that the emails go to the chair. I want the emails to go to you.
I'm finding emails, it's fine, I'm pretty responsive and I get them on my phone, so I can prioritize. If it's something that needs an immediate answer, I do it.
I just think that's better. You can get to any city personnel.
So you don't want your own personal email, like email?
I can't even get into my emails. And
I'm
if I cannot get into my emails.
That's a problem.
And they have to take my computer downtown to get into it.
Thank you.
And I'm not going to be free to do something like that.
Well,
if it happens again, and you probably will. So I would be comfortable with you.
That's fine. I'm fine with that, but I'm saying when they get it fixed, if you want that to be able to be contacted, obviously they won't put it up until you have email access.
I would like to make a motion because I believe that you, Ms. Tran, will get to us if it's directed to us, or a city employee even. It might not even be you. You said the chair, but maybe a city employee. It just seems that one clearinghouse that all emails go to could prevent a disaster in the future.
The only reason that we recommended this was because we all represent different communities. For example, I know that Commissioner Byer represents District 2. So if someone from District 2 feels comfortable, and I'm just using him as an example, feels more comfortable contacting Commissioner Byer, that was what we were talking about last week. So that's last meeting. So that's why we decided to open it up.
So maybe it's CC someone from the city to always make sure that we're getting back to the people and there's no an emergency or anything that would leave us unresponsive.
Thank you. Now we have discussion.
We might say the same thing.
Hello? Sorry. My recommendation was going to be that even if people are clicking to email you all, that it's automatically CC in our Commission on Police Practices.gov email. That way, as staff, we're still receiving every single email and can respond to things if they're not specific to your district or communities.
But someone may want to contact a commissioner privately. So I am concerned that they don't have that ability doing that. Okay, but now Alina, and then we'll do the commissioners. I'm sorry. Condi?
Sorry, and it's basically very similar to what she's saying. We do have that little hub to where if somebody from the community wants to, we've already had that happen multiple times. When somebody wants to speak to somebody from the commission, they can email the Commission on Police Practices sandiego.gov email, and then we can forward it to whoever it is that they need to speak to. If that's easier. I mean, we have done that. It's available regardless. But yeah, however you guys decide.
Thank you. Commissioner Griffin Jones and then Commissioner Honore.
Okay, so best practices, what do other commissions around the country do, and what do other commissions in San Diego do?
I think this is a very unique commission, so I don't necessarily want to do what everyone else does. I think it's such a unique commission that I think we should vote on what we would like. But Commissioner Jones, Griffin Jones.
I just want to express my support with the team, because when the voters elected for this to happen, it was that it be funded so that it wouldn't just be on all of us as kind of busy volunteers and community folks, that we could also get the support of paid people. So I really like the idea of an email that goes to staff, and if folks want to email me, but it's still CC to the staff, so that I don't miss anything, and I'm getting the staff support that our budget.
Commissioner Honore?
I just want to reiterate that while this may be a unique structure for commissions on police practices, there is still best practices. There are a lot of folks doing practices. There are standards that I would assume the city itself has. And I would think that we would want to take a look at those at least before we make a decision about this ourselves.
Commissioner Aziz?
Some of us also, I forget the term, is it doxing? Yeah. We have been doxed. We don't want to get doxed. And it would, just because of the work we do and decisions that may be made here, and the people that don't appreciate the work we do, are also organized. And I mean, I've had my kids put on those sites. So and Christina has had worse than I. So I think it's safety kind of too. And then not being able to get, and I don't know if that will happen. I don't know.
Okay, either we can vote on this or we can table it to do some more research if there's someone who wants to look at best practices. What's the consensus? Vote? Table it? Okay, let's table it and put it on the next agenda, and then we will vote on it next agenda. Is everyone okay with that? Let's get a consensus right now. Yes? Yes?
So no, I'm not raising my hand to say I will research. One, this is still, we're in open session, right? So if someone wants to table something, I think there should be a motion to, if it's on the agenda and we want to table something, there should be a motion a motion, a second, and a vote, so that we have the proper protocol for that. Secondarily, I'm happy to try to help out. I'm getting ready to get on an airplane and go to Africa in the morning, so we might want to do that for staff, or if you want to wait till
we can have staff do it. We can have staff research that. As far as tabling, just so you know, the chair does have the right, but we can take a vote if we want to. I move that we table this until the next meeting. Is there a second? Commissioner Brown. All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. All right, moving on to the ad hoc committee reports. I know the training committee, from what I understand, there was not a meeting during the holidays. Is that correct? Do you have a quick update, or if not, that's fine?
One of the things that we talked about at the last meeting we had is we did have the onboarding training that we were going to propose, but I think because of the holidays, we neglected to forward it, so there's no document for the community to look at. So I think it makes the most sense probably to table that till the next meeting. But the idea was that for new commissioners that are coming in, and then any commissioners who are currently seated, that if they want a refresher course, that they obviously be able to go and attend that. But so I would just request we table it, and we'll bring that back in the next meeting so we can actually have the document out to the public.
That's fine, and then I would like it to be sent to the staff and the cabinet prior to the meeting, so that we can include it in the information to the public. Thank you. Is there any public comment on this training committee?
There is no in-person public comment on the training. If anyone joining us virtually would like to speak on this item, please raise your hand now. Again, if you're joining us virtually and would like to speak on this item, please raise your hand now. This concludes public comment for this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Justice, did you have your hand up? Yes, sir.
as part of the training, how can I schedule a ride-along with, the police department?
You can contact, the staff. Dr. Scarborough can help you, so contact her and or Alina, they'll take care of it. Thank you. All right, we're moving on to the bylaws committee. Unfortunately, Chair Maddox could not be here. Commissioner Byer, who's part of the committee, is going to give us a brief update, and then we'll see if there's public comments.
At the last regular meeting, the bylaws committee submitted the proposed draft, and the chairman is Mark Maddox. He invited comment from everyone, and as my understanding is he's currently collating that, and if there's any changes, he's going to present the revised draft bylaws. Is that consistent with your thought? That's it.
If you didn't mail your comments to him, he had requested them by December 22nd. You can mail them quickly, email them to him if you like. And the goal is to have an updated draft bylaws to vote on at the next meeting, and also to include, again, in the minutes, in the information that's sent out to the public. So thank you for all your work on that. Is there any public comment regarding the bylaws?
There is no in-person. There's no in-person public comment in regards to the bylaws. If anyone is joining us virtually would like to speak on the bylaws, please raise your hand now using the Zoom feature. Again, if you're joining us virtually and would like to speak on the bylaws, please raise your hand now. This concludes public comment for this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the operating committee update. It's going to be co-chair Case, who's also the second vice chair Case. Do you want to give us a quick update on your operating committee? Because co-chair Rubio is not available.
Okay, at our last meeting, we finalized the procedures for the review of discipline. We got some feedback from our outside counsel, and we're going to finalize that at our next meeting, which is going to be next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. And at that meeting, we will begin looking at the investigation procedures. Our chief investigators put a lot of work into drafting those procedures based on the preliminary draft prepared by our outside counsel. And we estimate that it'll take several meetings to go through the investigation procedures, which are kind of the heart of what we're doing.
Thank you, Commissioner Chair Case. Also, we would have that in the, if you have any drafts to send out to the public, we could send it out with the agenda.
Yeah, we anticipate being able to, yeah, so we anticipate being able to have the disciplinary procedures ready for the January 17th meeting.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment on the operating? Who's that? Wanting to be sure we had a quorum. Anytime commissioners leave, we still have to have a quorum or we must stop the meeting. So we have a quorum still. Continue, please.
We have no public comment in person on this item. If anyone is joining us virtually and would like to speak on this item, please raise your hand now. Again, if you're joining us virtually and would like to speak on this item, please raise your hand now. This concludes public comment for this item. Thank you.
Thank you. I just received a text from outside counsel Bennett regarding the emails that I would like to read to you. As for email, please note that any email coming to commissioners constitute public records that must be retained by the CPP. Therefore, it makes sense to use or always include staff in email communications. All emails should not go to you as chair, thank you, Dwayne, for dissemination, etc. If anything, emails could go to commissioners and staff for monitoring and public records retention purposes. So that's helpful, but again, we will take it up at the next meeting. Thank you, Mr. Bennett. All right, so next we have non-agenda public comment. Ms. Obi?
We have no in-person non-agenda public comment. If anyone is joining us virtually, would like to give a non-agenda public comment, please use the raise hand feature in the Zoom now. Again, if you are joining us virtually and would like to speak on non-agenda public comment, please raise your hand now. Mr. Miller, I just want to make sure that you are not trying to speak. All right, this concludes public comment for this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Obi. So we are now trying to start at every meeting having an area for commissioner comments, just to comment on anything going on. It's not anything we can vote on. It's just any concerns, any comments that we have that maybe we want to take on at the next meeting. So let's start. Commissioner Harvey.
Well, I just wanted to ask, did anyone participate or the, what was it?
Bus tour?
The bus tour, the police bus tour, was anybody part of that or attended it at all? Okay, the reason why I'm asking is because I was informed that I guess as part of their training or their conversation with their new police officers that me and my family and Tasha Williamson were discussed in that forum in regards to how we participate in the community in regards to police stops and things like that. So I was wondering if anybody was there, heard. We were told by someone that was there, and so my son and Tasha went to confront them about it and see what it was all about. So.
To the where, I'm sorry, where did they go? To the front of?
They went to, when they were called and told, when we were called and told that the police had been commenting on us, my son and Tasha went to the place, wherever it was at. I don't remember where it was at.
It was at headquarters, I believe. It started at.
No, I don't think it was at headquarters.
Was it at,
no.
where is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they went there and spoke to the cadets?
Well, yeah, they went to, no, they didn't get to speak to cadets. They went to speak to the individuals. I guess that was talking, finding out what the conversation was about. But yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you that you were brought up and something like that? Can you say more specifically what was said, and also what was the outcome of that conversation when they went down there?
Yeah, they didn't speak on me specifically in regards to me being a commissioner. They just spoke on talking to the cadets regarding when they were talking about police stops and who they
We cannot hear remotely. Can't hear. Excuse me, Commission, if you can hear me, you need to discontinue because you've lost audio.
I don't even want to say, but we know people. So just somebody that can't think.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Mr. Bennett would like to speak about this. Go
Well,
ahead, Mr. Bennett.
what I wanted to say, Chair, you lost audio for approximately 2 or 3 minutes. So you lost the public, so we need to,
Mr. Bennett, we can't hear you. Hold on, please.
okay. Yeah, that's a problem.
We'll give you the go-ahead in just 1 minute. We want to hear what you have to say.
You can speak now. I have it all the way up. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I lost audio, and so I assume that if I lost audio, Commissioner Case may have lost audio also. And so that,
Yes.
so we have a pause in our meeting when Commissioner Harvey was speaking. And so I'd like to know if you all could recapitulate that or fill us in with what was being stated. I'm sorry.
I do think it's important. Do you mind repeating that? Because the public didn't hear it then either, and I think it's important. I'm sorry. For a few minutes.
I think that we lost it. Chair, I think we lost it when Commissioner Aziz asked what specifically was stated and thereabouts. So if you could please reiterate that, that would be helpful.
Okay, I think some of the things that was specifically said was in regards to Tasha Williamson. I think one was the fact that she used to be basically friends of PD, and really she actually was until when we met them. When we met Tasha, she actually was, and now I guess through different things that she's really not in their favor. And I guess the same thing is in regards to me and my family. That there's an idea that when the police officer makes stops, they need to be aware that chances are Tasha Williamson, and then it's not even just us. I know other people have also that they're going to stop. You're stopping in their community. Chances are somebody in the Harvey family or Tasha Williamson's or even other community members are gonna be there. You're gonna encounter them. So, just know that.
Did you hear that, Mr. Bennett?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Commissioner Aziz, yes.
I don't want to speak until Mr. Harvey's done before I have something else. So I want to make sure we finish.
Does anyone else? Okay, Commissioner Honore, and then Commissioner Aziz and Commissioner Justice. Okay, Commissioner Honore.
Yes, I just want to bring to our attention and inquire as to the status. Many of us, half of us on this council were assigned a 1-year term. We are now 7 or 8 months into that term, and I'm wondering what we should expect as the protocol for the next iteration of the council when those commissioners' term is up.
I will check with the president of the city council's office. They handle that. They're still in processing for those 4 openings when it closed, commissioner seats, when it closed in December 13th. So I will ask when that process can start for the 1-year terms, if you would like to reapply and that sort of thing. So let me check with them and see what's going on. Commissioner Justice.
So I'm in the auto repair business, and my company got involved with a program called Lights On. And here's how it works. If motorist gets pulled over because some of his lights or her lights might not be working, and the motorist doesn't really know that they're not working. So rather than the officer giving them a citation and a fix-it ticket, they in turn give the motorist a voucher where they can take to a participating auto repair shop and get the repairs done free of charge. This program is sponsored by San Diego, Chula Vista, National City Police Departments, and the county sheriff's departments. The financial sponsors are the San Diego Padres, Scripps Health Foundation, and a group up in Minnesota called Microgrants. Now, Microgrants matches the contributions from the Padres and Scripps Health. And the goals of the program are to improve community relations with the police department, help low-income motorists get their cars repaired that they might not otherwise afford to do, and of course improve public safety. And there's something in it for me as well. I get new clients, potential for getting new clients. The program's been very successful, in my opinion. We've been doing 3 or 4 cars per week, and I get reimbursed eventually by micro grants. And after the repairs are done, the motorist fills out a survey, and the surveys have been really positive. You know, the motorists almost enjoy getting pulled over so they can get their lights fixed free of charge. So the program is working really well, in my opinion.
Thank you. Commissioner Aziz.
I have 2 things. First is, it's good to hear that you're having, as the provider, the vendor, you're having success. On the other end, for the community, they're not given those vouchers equally. So we had to have people literally go to the police station after being stopped, after being allegedly stopped, after being allegedly searched for a light being out, but no voucher was given. And so that now, when we do that, when we tell them to do that, we tell them to film when they go into they're given a voucher. But one of the things, and I don't know if this is outside of what we can do, is a recommendation that a nonprofit or an automobile company that is one of the vendors, people can go and get the voucher there by demonstrating that they're low income and they don't have to demonstrate their income, that their light is out, their third light, their brake light, their tail light, their front light. And we believe that it might be more equitable.
I also think we need to be careful if a commissioner's business is profiting from this, that we have to be careful about that, because we can't have that. So I think there needs to be a fine line about that. Did you want to comment about Mr. Harvey?
Well, no, it was actually, what do we do as commissioners if we witness potential misconduct? How would we then go about complaining or putting in a third-party complaint?
You can either put it in and then recuse yourself when that case comes up, or you can recommend, which would probably be the better case, and remove yourself from it, recommend to the alleged complainant to put in a complaint, to file a complaint themselves. That
this goes to, even though it's a nonprofit issue, it's not we don't get money for this. One of the things, the reasons why complaint clinics are starting is because, and Brandon, you're big on knowing the policy to make the complaint. If a person makes a complaint and they don't know how to make a complaint, it's pretty futile. Some of us know how to make complaints because we know what needs to be in the complaint, all factual, but what they need to be identifying. And that's why we do so. So you would be okay if I made the complaint and totally recuse myself? Either way, I'm probably gonna need to recuse
you can make a complaint as a citizen. You're still a citizen. However, you would have to recuse yourself. Okay. Commissioner Griffin Jones, did you have something? That we're gonna wrap it up soon.
For fellow Commissioner Harvey, like, I'm super sorry that they were talking about y'all. But we're also really thankful for the work that y'all do, keeping community members safe. I wanted to ask outside counsel Dwayne if it would count as conflict of interest if I ask the commission if they'd be interested in sponsoring a sumo tournament I'm putting on February 24th.
We can't do that.
No worries. No worries.
Thank you.
But I do want to invite y'all to have a free booth to collect community members' complaints.
on February 24th. You all can't come because then you'll be violating the right. Let the staff know, and the staff will handle that. Thank you. Yes. Yes, Ms. Golu would like to comment.
I just wanted to respond to Commissioner Z's comments about the complaint process. I'm curious because this is something that I keep hearing is that the complaint process is futile. So I would like to learn more about what the community finds about the complaint filing process, because frankly, it shouldn't be hard to file a complaint. So maybe that's something we can have as a separate discussion, or you've heard members of the community mention something about the complaint filing process that we could use and reevaluate and bring it to the PD's attention, but also I want the community to remember that they can file a complaint with PD, but they can also file a complaint with the CPC, right?
And that might be something good that we can even talk about as an agenda item.
Yes.
So what the community has issues with, and then invite the community to also come and share with us. So if there is a way to adjust that process, then we can know. So if you would like to do that, please email us, not everyone, but email.
I think if I'm able to just say something quick, because I think it's important. The way that a community member approaches a complaint is not the way that the commission or internal affairs approaches a complaint. If you have two people, two entities that are doing two entirely different things, how do you get the best results and the most efficacy? And I think that's the missing link. So until, and there are, Patrick Anderson is saying he's coming up, we need to get him as a consultant, but he's one of the people that we're working with on community clinics and San Diegans for Justice, community clinics, to teach community members how to, you guys can't use this, get off the twice accidentally. I am so sorry, but I just, I'm hygiene wise, but I am, but I'm sorry, but I think that's the gap, the disconnect. And until we get there as a commission, and that's part of our jobs, I believe, I think the results will be better. I think they'll be clearer. I think the community's understanding of what police policy is going to be helpful. And even people taking more control on looking at changing policy. I think we'll get there and the community's voice will be heard. But right now they have no idea what the measurement of success when they complain.
Chair?
Okay. We're learning. And we are learning. Mr. Bennett had some.
Yeah, Chair, could I just want to say this, look, the discussion that you all are having under commissioner comments is fascinating discussion. And it's so pertinent because it really goes to the heart of what the commission is. I mean, Commissioner Harvey said something about the bus tour and being used as examples, et cetera, et cetera. Commissioner Aziz said something about, you know, the perception of citizens and the complaint process. And, you know, these are all items that are really, really critical to your mission, because if in fact, what Commissioner Harvey, and I'm not denying anything he's saying, I'm accepting everything he's saying. If what in fact he's saying is true, this goes to the credibility of the commission in the eyes of the police department. And you're making recommendations. And if the department really feels that way about some commissioners, one or another, or thinks somebody is not, you know, doing things the right way, or they're not in favor, they're going to dismiss what your recommendations are. Your credibility is not going to be what it should be. So these are items that are very, very relevant and pertinent and need to be placed on open agenda. You need to have public input, and you need to have open discussion with the chief and with the department. Because I don't think that the comment that Commissioner Harvey mentioned should go silently with no response from the commission. This is one of your commissioners. And so if he's being used or his family's used as an example, then somebody needs to get to the heart of it, and the commission needs to address it as a whole body. Same thing what Commissioner Aziz just said about complaints. You know, there's a fine line. We can't, as well as filing complaints. The thing about it, the commission cannot be deemed and as by ordinance is not an advocacy organization or commissioners aren't advocates for people filing complaints, but commissioners have to be educated and also have an educational purpose in making sure people know they have a right to file complaints and what that process is, and that the commission takes it seriously. So this is another perfect item to be placed on an open session agenda, and it really be given some serious thought. I just wanted to say that.
Mr. Bennett, then I have a question for you. I'm going to ask you what Commissioner Aziz asked, is that if she helps someone file a complaint as an outside member, because obviously she's an advocate in her community. So separately from being a commissioner, there's not a conflict of interest, and then she'll recuse herself from that complaint. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's very difficult, and I understand the question, and it's a very nuanced question, and it's not easy to answer yes or no, or this is okay, and it's simple as a recusal. To the extent that commissioners are deemed to be advocates for people filing complaints, you undermine your credibility as a commission. On the other hand, a person who is on the commission who understands the nuances of the law and understands the complaint process also has a right as a citizen not to be muffled. And so there's a fine line. I don't know how to answer that question 100%, except to say, if a commissioner is involved in helping anyone file a complaint, they are totally recused from that issue and should recuse themselves and should have no participation in it. The problem that you all have as a commission is, to the extent that police, the POA or the department or the chief or anybody believes that there are commissioners who are also advocates for filing complaints, those recommendations that come from the commission very well may be undermined or discounted because of that issue. That's something that you all can't deal with. I understand it's political and it's all kinds of things. So the only thing I can say for a fact is, if a commissioner does help some, woe to, the safest thing would be not to help anyone file a complaint, but to make sure that they have the rights, they understand the protocol, and let them make their own decision. They can make their own decision to file a complaint or not. I would never recommend that a commissioner go out and help somebody file a complaint. But I can't tell you all what to do. You all are all individual citizens, and you have to make up your own minds in that regard. The safe bet is, if you're on a commission, people have a right to know. This is a process. And that's why I say, put it on the open agenda so you can have a thorough discussion so that people can understand what the process is, so that you don't have to help them. They know what their rights are and they can do it themselves. That's the safest bet. But if a commissioner knows something about a complaint or is a victim or has implications, they certainly should be recusing themselves, and that needs to be publicly stated.
Okay, I'm going to have Commissioner Aziz respond to that, because then I see you too.
Right. I only say that because after being witnessing something, and now I have the collateral damage where I'm traumatized, where I personally believe that I've witnessed discrimination and retaliation, and I was there. I feel as though maybe I'm putting the commission at a disadvantage as a city commissioner, because I'm of the city, so is the police. Maybe I should file an equal claim. So you tell me, Mr. Bennett.
Dwayne?
Okay, this is something that certainly should be tabled, right? Because this is commissioner comments, and it's too difficult to address in this forum, correct? But what I'm saying is that, the one thing I can say, Commissioner Aziz and Chair and Commission, we do need to agendize publicly these items, and you need to give yourself enough time to talk about it. I understand you have a lot of things that are on your plate, but these are very critical issues that need to be discussed and fleshed out. I can't give independent advice in terms of what a commissioner must do. You have a right to free speech, but if you're on the commission and you're also an advocate, that compromises the commission, as you know, right? So the easiest thing and the easiest way, I think, to deal with it is to make sure that the public has the knowledge to make its own decisions one way or another.
You, Commissioner Hilbert,
Really quick. No, I agree with Layla, because I think one of the things is, it's not that long ago that the police department finally agreed to put their policies and procedures online. for the longest time, their whole process was, these are confidential, we don't want anyone to see it. Well, if that's the case, how would the community know if an officer violated policy? So we're making progress. I think there's a lot more to be made, but I do think, I filed a use of force complaint to the police department. When I did it, I told the chair at the time and basically said, I will remove myself from any discussion on this, which is what we would be expected to do.
Was it against you or a third party?
I did it on behalf of somebody else. But I think the issue is, I think many of us will over time learn a lot about policies and procedures, much more than the average, community member. And I think it's important if someone comes to us, since we all are, district representatives, city representatives for our respective, seats. If someone asks us a question of this happened to me, does this sound right to you? I think, if I have to, I will recuse myself from it, but I feel it's my duty to here's what the policies and procedures are. And, no, I think what you said probably was legit, or no, that's wrong. And so, I personally think that's one of our jobs as commissioners is to help people if they ask me questions about how to file a complaint. I think that's one of the things that it's on us to try to do within reason, but also we tend to try to tell people is if they come here to basically say, don't do grievance to the full commission meeting, because then kind of biases the investigation. So we just have to be cautious of how we do it. But I think it is acceptable for us to help and to educate the community onto what the policies and procedures are.
Thank you. And then Ms. Obie, really quickly,
I wanted to also offer that this could be something that I can do as a community engagement, but I would need more support from our chief investigator as well as our commissioners who are experts from the community perspective on what are the best practices and ways to file complaints and how to reach community about them.
Thank you. And I do agree with Mr. Bennett that we don't want what Commissioner Harvey just go away. We will find a way to put it on the agenda as going forward. It makes me personally uncomfortable that happened. And, as a commissioner, I'm not saying as chair or anything else, I'm just expressing my opinion. And so we will find a way to put it on the agenda and have a more deep discussion, if that's okay with you, sir.
I'm not, we're going to say it, but it did go.
Well, I think it actually goes to the integrity of the CPP, if that's.
Yeah, that's right.
If that's what they're saying. So. I understand that, but they know you're on the commission. They do. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you bringing that up. Anything? Oh, okay, so we're signing off at 7:31. We're adjourning this meeting. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. We'll see you again on January 17th, 4:30 at the same room. Thank you.